Welcome back to Team druMIT. Today I'm going to be introducing our version 2 implementation. As a reminder, in version 1, our system was able to detect if a hand was over the drum, it was able to play a sound when the hand struck the drum, and we set up a web application to host our system. In version 2, the system can detect multiple hands. We cleaned up the drum strike recognition so that the drums play only once per hit, and the drum strike motion detection is much more consistent and smooth. We also extended the drum set and provide a choice of 3 different drums, the acoustic, tom-tom, and tabla, and each drum plays the corresponding sound.
Cool. Okay. What is difficult about this?
Seems like the right one sometimes does work. Maybe it does.
Please use 2 hands. Okay, what's difficult about this?
It looks like when there's 2 hands, it like triple drums every time you hit it. So it's like,
Is there anything that's confusing?
no, it's pretty intuitive. Once you put one hand and then the other hand, they show up. So it's pretty easy.
Some areas of improvement for our version 2 implementation is we'd like to increase the consistency of 2 hands hitting the drums at the same time. So right now there's a slight delay between hitting and actually playing the sound. It's small, but it's noticeable enough. And then there's also a slight delay between the true drums playing the sound when 2 hands hit the drums at the same time that we'd like to remove. We'd also like to improve the cursor's movement consistency as it moves across the drum set. So extending the size of the playing area when we added those 2 extra drums definitely stretches the leap to its recognition limit. So we want to improve the cursor's consistency as it moves across the screen, because right now there are some bugs there. We'd also like to improve the system's recognition of the left and right hand. Right now we have 2 cursors, each have a different color corresponding to each hand. But currently, if one of those hands goes out of range of the leap's vision, when it returns, it often switches cursor colors, or sometimes this will even happen during playing. It's a bit distracting, and we'd like to improve that.
And lastly, one thing that we want to also improve, as we found out from the user's study, is that oftentimes when you try to beat the drum with 2 different hands, the drum plays multiple sounds at once, as our user told us when he tried to interact with our system. So we definitely want to fix that. We seem to have fixed that with the single hand use case, but it seemed like it was a problem once again when using 2 different hands, so that's definitely something we want to keep improving on. Additionally, from our user study, the user said that they found it pretty intuitive to use our system. I did give some direction saying please play with 1 hand and please play with 2 hands, so maybe having some directions on the screen of how to interact, maybe saying please use 1 or 2 hands, or even having the icons instead of round balls show up as little hands. So that's definitely an option as well.
Our version 3 goals for our next implementation are to implement each of these improvements that I just mentioned, as well as introduce some playing feedback, so maybe highlighting whichever drum was most recently played. We'd also like to play the drum's sound at a volume that corresponds to the speed at which it was hit, And another big extension is to introduce hitting the drums with different objects, so allowing the user to play the drums with a drumstick or another drumstick shaped object.